Awesome. Welcome to the Team W podcast. My name is Neville.
I'm Kevin.
Thank you so much for coming, Kevin. Sorry, apologies. This is Kevin. Um, and if you were here for our first episode, if you weren't, we just want to tell you our podcast is built on bringing people like you, sharing different business events. Kevin and I, are both business students at Michigan State University, and we believe it's extremely important just to get out there, understand the news, and maybe share some different ideas. And if you got something different, like and comment with us, and we'd be more than happy to respond to you. We'll have our social medias available in the description. Connect with us, and we'll be happy to talk more. But today we have some interesting articles. So, Kevin, how has your day been? Let's start off with that.
Well, pretty normal. Had a
You
few
know?
tuna sandwiches. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Tuna is always a good thing. I personally believe so. You want to disagree with that? Go ahead, write down the comments. All right, let's. We got a few articles. I'm really curious to see where we're at, and how we go with today. So, I think one of the best. I think since the year has 2020 has ended, this is 2021. I think one of the things that we should talk about is just like the investment trends. I believe like investing has gone up. We saw a tank in March, but then man, we were a bull market roaring after that.
Yeah, I put
Uh,
some money in the market right around
okay,
the right around when it tanked. Not
okay,
before, right after it tanked.
wow, okay.
So,
So,
I
well, here's
was
the
quite
thing.
surprised.
Exactly, and so am I because I'm expecting for another tank. And so, I guess my question is this: like we're at year end levels, record setting, that, and it's like nobody ever predicted. And like you have a variety of different things, like gold and bonds are tumbling, stocks are flying through the roof, Bitcoin is up. I mean, what is going on? So I guess, yeah, we are at a point where our economy, we know that there's many people who are unemployed. Some people they're on the brink of it, and it's that's truly devastating, and our hearts go out to these people. So I guess like, how is it that all these stocks they're flying through the roof? Like I've heard people like they're retiring now because, I mean, the value of their assets are up
Yeah, they
there.
just they sell them. They made like quadruple maybe if they put it right. They bought right when the
March happened.
the drop. Yeah.
Exactly.
Um. I mean, I have no clue why this is. I mean, my only guess is maybe like because I heard somewhere that what is it? Well, obviously the stock market doesn't reflect the economy. It's all based on how much money people are willing to put into it, so on and so forth, and the value of all companies. Because everyone's at home, everyone has more time to, they save on that daily commute time. They save on so on and so forth. They always have access to a computer. Most residential areas always have internet. Sometimes when people go to work, they can't use the internet. But either way, everyone's got access to that stuff. So maybe people are just seeing this as another way to make money, and so they're putting money in. So there's more money in than usual.
Yeah.
Um,
Like we
I
see, sorry if I
Yeah, go
may,
ahead.
like I know like one thing that was like talked about is like there's like a lot of Robinhood day traders out there. I'm not trying to group you all together, but if you're listening, but I'm just trying to say that there's like many people who are out there who are trading. I know one of the popular companies were Hertz stocks was traded. They were on the brink of bankruptcy, and their stocks were traded at record levels. People were doubling their money left and right. I think J.C. Penney was somewhere near there. So
I think
people
they were
are
about to
like,
collapse too. Yeah.
exactly, and so they're at a point where they're almost at the brink of they're if they're not already like they're at a point of the brink of bankruptcy, and now there's like people there's a flood of investors buying low, trying to, and the prices are going up, and then they're selling, and it's fast day trading. So and like we've seen like some of them are even just people our age. They're day trading. So then I guess like I got a few questions because Kevin, me and you, we are avid fans of philosophy. We both read Rich Dad Poor Dad. It blew our minds away. I know when I read it, I was like, whoa. And I saw the world in a whole different way.
I mean, I gotta specify there, not like the traditional Greek philosophy, more of the business philosophy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, for me, it was more of like it opened up new possibilities. Like I felt like light bulbs were just going off. And so I guess the question comes down to is how does is this sustainable? Because I know like we have another article which is like about like tech, and one of the thing, and I saw like some stuff that like where somewhere else where it was said that like
They're,
trading is going to come down. We are going more of into a quant sphere, like quant trading. We're using mathematical algorithms to know when to buy, when to sell, when to hold, better
yeah,
than a human.
I know that you're expecting a big drop sometime this year, or at least you're hoping for it, mainly because it's unsustainable for the market to be above where the economy is.
I mean,
Personally, I
we're
think,
overinflated, are
yeah,
we not?
massively. I think it's gonna come down sometime, but I don't know if it's gonna come down as a crash. Maybe when like businesses go back and people start going back to work, if that happens. Also, I heard somewhere that maybe, well, currently a lot of investing money is being put into tech. Because if you
Okay.
look at it, just from my experience in the past couple of months looking at stocks, places like oil, transportation, well, obviously Carnival went down a lot. Like so many sectors got hit, construction, everything, they all had tanked in March. But when you look at tech stocks, like there's nothing, it just keeps going up. Like AMD, there was nothing in March. Like if you look at it, it just keeps going up. So currently there's a lot of money in tech, and maybe it'll shift around. I don't know. What's your opinion on that?
Well, I think like with when the pandemic came, it forced like it thrusted people like who didn't want, like we talked about this on the last podcast, like people who didn't want to make the investment on the first round or were like less willing to and they had avoided it were forced to make those kinds of investments, learning how to use platforms like Zoom, Teams, video conferencing, like the new, like it became again the new normal, right? So I think there's some money to be made, but I feel that like again, I feel that tech's just been overinflated. Like Microsoft, Apple, these are blue chip stocks that we know that will last. They are built as quality companies, they have quality cultures. They are places many people want to work at. I know we do. If we could, we'd love to work there. And because the products they sell are great, the process they have, and the people there are all fantastic. So like I think they're moving at a very sustainable spot, but I think we're also at a point where there's just things that are overinflated, right? And so the question becomes, what do you do after that? If things are overinflated, do we come back down? Is this become the new normal? Or how do like, and I guess here's my question I wanted to ask. So you like personal finance, I like personal finance. Is this sustainable? Where we have a lot of day traders trading back and forth um, when you have the rise of quant coming up, when you have a lot of like when it's like we've learned and we've known that buy and hold is the best strategy. That in a 30-year run time, you will make your money. Is the short term trading within like buying a stock and holding it for a year, less 1 year or less than, is that sustainable? In
I
your opinion, do you
mean,
think it is?
I don't know. Personally, I think it's always going to be happening, of course, with either new investors or just people who want to do day trading. And of course, we both learned through the school and just through examples that it's better to buy consistently than timing the market. And of course, if you time the market wrong, that's the worst case scenario, you just throwing money away. But
I mean, if you time the market wrong, still, if you hold it for 30 years, you're going to make your money.
No,
You're
I'm
trying
saying when you,
to
I'm saying you time it wrong when, as in you buy high, sell low all the time.
exact. Oh, I'm saying when you buy high and then you just hold on to it for the next 30 years.
Yeah.
But go on. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know if it's sustainable. People might just lose interest. People, I don't know. Personally, I'm just saying whenever I make money, I usually put a good chunk into the savings and investments. That's all I can comment on.
Hmm. Yeah,
If it's sustainable, I don't know. Like I said, there's always going to be day traders. What's your opinion? Have you heard anything?
I think it's just interesting. See, I understand. I think one of the biggest things that people like, I haven't heard many people talk about this, but I think it's one of the most important rules. Like the first rule to stock market investing is don't lose money. Because if you lose 50% of your value, then you need to make 100% return just to get back to where you started, right? Well, I guess like with that, like I think like one of the important things are like hedges, where you have items like gold and silver, which hold value, so they go against inflation. You're holding that kind of value, but you're also it's it allows because when times are tough and times go bad, people run to gold and silver. Like I know Robert Kiyosaki, he likes to use the phrase gold and silver are God's money because we can always print more of US dollars, but you can't print more of gold. Or we can only mine for it. And even then it's what you're gonna get and how much it's gonna cost, it's not worth it. You'll be operating at a loss.
That does bring
So
up the just kind of like a complete like direction change though. Just to comment on that. Isn't space-based mining something that's becoming more viable or something a field that's being researched? And
I'll be
I've heard references like a certain asteroid somewhere in the solar system has more precious metals and minerals in it than the entirety of what we have right now.
that's interesting. I'll be honest, I do not know much to it, but I do think that depending on what you find, regardless of what it is, I can't comment on it, but I'm just going to speak this on a market aspect. If it's truly valuable, like something that's like something that I think one like me and you also like fashion, so we've also like seen where it's like if it's something that's if it becomes the next status symbol, like right this day and age we see the cars, the house, the clothing, those are the fashion symbols of like today, and that's how people are viewing things. And with social media, it's instant, it's instantaneous. At that moment, you can get it right then and there, and you can see, oh, this person has an Aston Martin, this person has a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a Rolls Royce, and like we set our goals upon it. If you have something that's that precious and it's something that you can wear, something like a ring, a chain, something that it's in your daily life that you appreciate, and again, if it's something that's rare, then I think you see a potential for a market to come. Right now, you might be at the beginning stages of it. Granted, I'm assuming that they're trying to like mine for it or like understand the process of it, but it's the possibility of starting a market, and that can create demand. But again, people have to, I guess, mess with the product and understand, hey, how can I incorporate this to my life?
Hmm.
But that'll be an interesting shift. Um,
Wait, didn't you say the the price of gold and bonds are tumbling though?
yeah, it was actually in this article. It was said that like, they said so yeah, so like we're uh with uh with bonds coming down. Oh, sorry, this one right here. So yeah, so worries about the rapidly spreading coronavirus in the first part of the year sent stocks, gold, and bonds tumbling. And that was like in the beginning and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Safe money funds.
Are they still down?
Um, I know,
Still.
I know, I can't speak about bonds itself, but I know stocks have been going up, and we've understood that. But I've also seen gold go up, which is very interesting, and that's totally contrary to how typically things work. Because when stocks go up, people are hopeful for the future. People are excited for how things are going to go. And so because of that, they're investing more into it to see it go up further. And then as a result, they're gonna put less money into gold. And so typically when gold goes down, stocks are going up because
What about
it's hopeful for a brighter future. But then in the contrary, when we're having a crash or things like that and stocks are coming down, people are running to gold because they still want to make sure the value of the money that they have is held on and it's growing so that they're not losing more money. And
isn't
so
that isn't that thinking inherently flawed though?
how is
Because
it
that's
flawed?
that's based on the assumption that there's only a certain amount of money that can go to either stocks or gold. Because of the everyone
Well,
staying at home, people are putting more money into the market, not to mention all the billions or trillions of stimulus. And I'm sure most people who got stimulus wasn't immediately like, yeah, I'm gonna go buy a new couch or a new TV. They're probably like, I'm
paying
gonna
off
put this in
expenses.
gold, or I'm gonna pay off expenses, or things like that, which causes more money to flow through the market. And as you know, gold has its inherent value, so when there's more
See,
money in the market, the price should rise, should it not?
it does, and it will, and it like we've seen that like it does rise because that's why it's a hedge against inflation, but it's also something where gold is limited. The amount of shares a company can put out is limited. Yes, we know Tesla does stock splits and stuff, but it's still a limited amount, right? There might be 10 million, there may be 100 million, regardless of how many stocks there are or how many shares of a stock there is. Um, it's limited. So people are going to want to buy more, and as a result, the price is going to go up. Prices will be changed and shifted based on how much the demand is with the people. And so if more people are putting more money there. But I think what's interesting to note is the fact that since stocks are going up, but gold is also going up, I think there's like two groups of investors, or maybe it's like a fusion of both in one whole group where it's you have investors who believe, okay, fine, market's rising, things might go good, things might be good. Let's just keep on going and consistently investing, dollar cost averaging, and keep on going about it. However, you also have other, but then you might have some who are totally opposed to it. I mean, this is the whole bell curve situation. But they also believe, like I'm talking about the people in the center, they also believe, well, we just had a crash. We're predicted to have another one. Things are going to fall. I don't know when, I don't know where, but just in case, I'm going to make sure my asset allocation for gold is higher. And so they're putting more money into that, maybe gold, silver, oil, other types of commodities such as that. Maybe even places like real estate and REITs. More money is going into. And then we've also seen Bitcoin all time high. Um, it's going up, and so people are putting more money into Bitcoin, and they're using that as again a hedge against if things tumble there. I'm going to use Bitcoin as my way of holding on to some cash. Um, and I think that's right now where we're trying to go towards. I think that's the kind of move we're making. Because they're saying, "Hey, things are going good, sure," but it's a cautious optimism. I think a cautious optimism is the best place to describe where we're at, um, and how things move more into the future. Kevin, thoughts?
I would say, yeah, that's basically what's happening. Cautious optimism is causing people to put more money into investments. Now, this just does bring up the question, though. What do you think would happen if there is like, because obviously the market's not a reflection of the economy right now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't need to, but when it does, well, I guess when the money stops coming, because most of the money coming in right now, most income, like a lot of people are working at home, but for the people uh who don't have a job because of COVID, they're mainly living off of unemployment and also uh just stimulus checks.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so just based on the stimulus, you're already getting 2,000. That's really not that much. if you're thinking about income. But for unemployment, I know it's typically around anywhere from a couple hundred a week, I think, or a couple hundred every 2 weeks for unemployment benefits. So that's definitely going to go down because obviously right now, because of the crash, we're technically in a recession right now. And so there's like, what is
I
it?
mean, economy-wise, we are in a recession.
Yeah.
It's just that the stock market doesn't show it.
Yeah. So the government's trying to put in inflationary spending right now. They're trying to, keep people spending money. But once it starts to recover, they're going to suddenly just like increase interest rates and stuff like that, make people try and stop spending. So at that point, do you think the market will start to go down, at least the stock market will start to go down and everyone will start to panic sell? Because most of the traders right now are all new traders.
Hmm. I think that's an interesting question right there. I think if I think we're at a point where if interest rates start going up, so here's my process with that. If interest rates start going up, what's going to happen is it's not going to be the stock market people because who are just going to they're not going to make that shift. It's going to follow through. But people who are taking loans, now these might be like real estate investors. They're taking home loans to invest in properties and rent them out. People who are starting businesses, people who have businesses right now, they're taking out loans. When the interest rates start going up, people are going to start taking out less loans, as like we know from like economic theory and stuff. They just can't simply afford it. It's not affordable for them to take out loans. And after taking out those kinds of loans, you're going to be left with, if they stop taking out loans, which means businesses are coming down, less people, which might increase the employment. Oh, apologies. But which might increase the workforce. So then with that, that might bring wages down, which means less money that's being put into the market, which is going to I think it's might plateau some. And then if people are investing less into they're not building as many buildings at that point, I think that might also um, bring ourselves down. I think one of the other things that's coming up is I think with the Joe Biden administration, it said with taxes, there's going to be more taxes, like corporate tax rates going to go back up, and things like that. So depending on how we manage, taxes are a good way to it's the government's going to get more money, but it also, when times are good, it's keeping it contractionary instead of expansionary, right? As you know from macro. So I don't think it'll be an immediate shift. There might be some people who make a jump, but I think there needs to be time. I think that's one thing. It is like people are expecting one thing to happen, and when enough people believe something's going to happen, it happens. Like if enough people tell a lie so many times, that eventually people start to believe it as truth. And I think that's sort of what we might start seeing in the markets itself, where if people started selling off, then it might trigger a crash, or depending on how it moves. But again, you can't predict the market itself. This is all, in the end, it's all theory, which is interesting.
But your personal opinion is that the market will crash sometime next year.
I am very cautious about the market. I believe there have been a lot of people who've been saying about it. There's been a lot of people who I personally follow, and they've all been selling left and right just to liquidate out. Um, and out of the people who are buying, they're buying things like hedges. Like maybe Bitcoin's a very risky one. I've heard a lot of gold. I've heard a lot of silver. I've heard some real estate.
Wait, can you hedge on Bitcoin?
Well, you're using it as a hedge against
Oh,
if things go bad. There's a limited amount of Bitcoin. I'm not completely sure what the exact terms are, but again, because it's a limited supply and you can't just make more out of thin air. There's a limit on it. The government can always print more money, and that's what we call inflation, right? but you like gold, it's not worth mining over. So you have a little bit about that. I apologize for that. So then, okay, so let's move a little bit. I'd like to pivot, if that's okay, from
All
a
right.
little bit off this topic. And so I shared with you an article, and it's just about the different types of spending throughout the year, how things have moved, where we've been, and things like that. And I think that's truly interesting to see where we've come to, and just on a few specific areas, and like how people are making their money, like even during the pandemic, because people are still making money some way, somehow. They're buying something, they're selling something, they're making money regardless, right? And so I guess my first question I wanted to bring up was, the pandemic came in and hit. What does that do for these local retailers? Because I've gone to the store a few times, and I've just seen like Macy's, J.C. Penney, and I wouldn't say it's at the ooh, again, I apologize for that. I wouldn't say it's at the levels that it used to be, where it's like Black Friday, everybody's busy, everybody's slammed, people are knocking each other. That's definitely not what's happening. But it feels less it feels like the demand is less. So is it something where retail is dying? Did this force a retail push, or is this a new, or is this a moment for pivoting in real estate and retail? Go
I
ahead.
mean, retail's been dying. I'd say this is just like the final blow. Well, it's not. It's not even a final blow. It's just another blow. You know, you're just kicking retail while it's down. Um,
See, but here's the question then. Amazon, one of the things that I saw somewhere was like Amazon, um, they destroyed retail, and now they have an Amazon store. Like Amazon owns Whole Foods, right?
yes.
Which is more of a, and like that was seen to like it throughout the year just basically come down. Like it was like luxury, or maybe that was like more on luxury foods. I apologize for Whole Foods for that, but like Amazon owns Whole Foods, so they're
Well,
trying to
the
like
thing with that though is Whole Foods is in a retail. Well, it is a retail, but it doesn't deal in clothing
it
or
deals with food.
other things like books. Yeah, like books and clothing, it's fine to ship it online, but are you gonna ship yourself, a bag of celery? Might maybe take 2 days, maybe take a week or two. Are you gonna ship yourself a bag of celery in the mail for a week? No.
See, well, here's the thing: people are buying. I remember somebody was saying um, that like somebody bought toilet paper. People are buying toilet paper through Amazon, and it's getting
Okay.
shipped. Did you ever think you were going to get toilet paper shipped to you, Kevin?
I mean, I've never had toilet paper shipped, but
Exactly.
I
I
can't, I
personally
can't,
never
I can't
have.
imagine that. No.
I personally never have. I've always gone to Costco, but granted, I think that that's just a culture traditional thing. But I think it's just like my family, we love Costco, so we'll go to Costco. We'll get one of those big box
Yeah, the
like
huge
boxes,
ones.
bags of like toilet paper. I don't know what specifically we should call them, but and we get it like that. But the question that comes down to is like, you can get that off Amazon if you want. If we go on Amazon right now, and we look it up. I'm positive we can find it. Okay.
Mm.
We can get that shipped to us. We don't even have to drive to the store. That could probably save us money on driving. With the way Amazon's moving, has they have bought into the whole retail. So here's my question. We know the story of Blockbuster, where they had the opportunity to buy Netflix and then they passed on it. And guess what
No, they're
happened?
dead.
Exactly. Netflix destroyed Blockbuster, right?
Yes.
Is it possible? Right now, Walmart is one of the biggest, fiercest competitors against Amazon, and they have a right to be. I mean, everybody has a right to be, but like they have proven it. They have one of the greatest supply chains. We know of that. And they're efficient and they're moving and they're always innovating. Walmart, and I've seen one of their plants itself. It's truly amazing. The work they do, those plans, in those warehouses and stuff. So my question then becomes this: is it possible where Amazon has something up their sleeve? Is Amazon seeing something new, something different for the retail area? Because they've been making a move to different aspects, whether it's healthcare,
Is there
like Amazon.
anything?
Go ahead.
I mean, I would probably just call that diversification, just so they have more income. But do you have anything? Is there anything other than Whole Foods? As far as I know, that's all they have, right?
I know. I'm sorry, but I don't have anything like a solid photo to show right now. But I know there's like an Amazon type store where they have like these smart carts
Oh, the
where
things where you walk in and just grab something off the shelf and leave, and they automatically charge you.
yeah, and it would come down at like I think like even if you put it on your card, it would automatically like there was some sort of like cost calculator charging thing that was happening. I'm not completely sure, but they're moving. They have bought into retail. And we know everybody's been saying retail is going down. So if they've bought into retail, what are they thinking? Are they thinking of changing it? Is this something where the thing that changed for Netflix was they went to a subscription service? You didn't have to go to a store. It was right there. Do you remember the whole Netflix discs? Remember
Nope.
those discs?
Nah.
Okay, the red boxes. You remember red boxes?
No.
No. Okay.
I'm not a TV guy.
I guess I'm aging myself here a little. There used to be red boxes. If you don't know, there were red boxes.
Neville's like a million years old here.
At this point, I'm starting to feel like it. But you could pay what, $2? You get a disc, and it would be like the movie you wanted, and you rent it out for the night. I'm not sure if Netflix is the one doing it, but like,
Doesn't Google also do something like that? Except it's not on a physical format. It's just like you can rent it for a night or two for like a couple bucks or something like that.
true, yeah, you can. Google does that. Amazon does that. Like you can rent it or you can buy it. It's up to you, whichever one you want. However, I think right now, like streaming services like Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, they're all making a move towards like everything being at home. Like everything we've seen is personalized to where you just stay at home and you can get it. If you want toilet paper, you can get it shipped to you. Okay? You can if you want anything, you can get it shipped to you. You can get it. You don't even have to take your car and drive. Heck, you don't even need to own a car. You got Uber and Lyft, right?
I
So
mean,
then
yeah.
exactly. And now with Zoom and platforms like that, you can work from home. So where does that come down to on the future? Like, why is there something different that Amazon's trying to make a move for? Or are they just buying it just to make another small revenue stream?
I mean, I think you're overthinking it here. Personally, I'm just of the opinion
Okay.
that they're diversifying and that you really can't sell fresh things online. Not unless you
Okay.
have same day shipping or like here's the thing. If you're buying like fresh cheese or like fresh fruits or something like that, anything longer than a day and you start wondering. Like if it
Okay.
takes a whole day through the mail system to reach me, that thing's kind of, it's
You're
been
a
sitting
little
there for a
worried.
while.
You're
Yeah.
worried. Okay, so then here's my question. Here's my question. You're worried. Here's the thing. Amazon has already been working on that. They understand that. They know, Kevin, it's not just you who's worried. I'm not. I'd also be worried. I think there's like at least many people who would be worried, and I'm pretty sure Amazon's already thought of that. Just trying to make sure that hey, what items should be at your house will get there. That's
Wait,
also
also think about it this way, right? They don't really ship over the weekends too much. Like they still do it, but it's not as frequent, right? I don't think they do anything on Sundays or something like that. Either way, the supply chain network, at least for the last mile delivery, is already stretched as it is. Imagine if they like currently some of the things I order, maybe if I order on Friday or Saturday, it's gonna take me till Monday to come by.
so.
You
Then
want
here's
something saying in the mail for 3 days?
okay. Well, here's my question. We're supply chain students. How do we
Yes.
feel about Amazon's supply chain? Like we've heard of it, we've seen like they've been growing, but compare them to a
Yes.
Walmart. Walmart, the Waltons, Sam Walton, who created Walmart, the founder of it, their family's worth, I believe, was around $215 billion. I think they're one of the richest families.
See, that's different though.
No, but like, here's what I'll say. Here's the thing I want to put out there. That was just a fun fact I wanted to put out there. But the fact of that you have items like Walmart has stores in
Yeah,
every place.
but as you know,
Small
that
city,
simplifies the supply chain.
huh? I'm
As you
sorry.
know, that simplifies supply chain because you only have to deliver to stores. Stores are built for large
True,
shipping, through whether through
true.
trucking or something. Homes are not. Amazon is all built towards um, individual last mile delivery,
Ex-
and they do all their delivery through. They don't do it themselves. They do it through partners. So
True.
they're
Like,
limited to the capacity of their partners.
and they have hired contractors. I believe that's what they're called. I think it's contractors that like get items and then they go sell it. Like they go deliver them, right?
Yeah.
So here's my question: does it come down to the fact of who's at a what are the next plays? If you're an Amazon, if you're Jeff Bezos, you're his right hand guy, or maybe you are Jeff Bezos, okay? And you're looking at it on a supply chain, or you're his chief supply chain officer, and you're looking at the last mile delivery. But then now think of it as like you're the chief supply chain officer for Walmart. Walmart is delivering to stores, yes, but we have a trend where everything comes direct. It's direct to the consumer. We've seen
Yes.
this trend going on. Netflix, Disney, all these streaming services are one of the most evident ones. Theaters were closed, and so now you have movies like Soul that recently just came out on Christmas that come direct. I think you have to pay extra. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it's available in your own home. You don't even have to leave your house to go get that. For Walmart, if you're the chief supply chain officer of Walmart, what do you think is the next move to make sure you guys are at up top? You're the number
I mean,
one
you
in the
could
field.
already see them making that next move with their. I believe they might be doing deliveries, or they're doing things where you could just order something, and you could just pick it up in store, whether it's something that you can't get there. For example, for my computer actually, I got a. I would say it's like medium higher tier like computer CPU. They didn't have that in store, so they had to like basically ship it to that store. But then it was just simple for me to just walk in the store and pick that up.
True, but here's the thing. Simplify that even more. And here's what I was thinking. It was more of making things reach your doorstep. I think that's their next goal, where it's right now their stores are everywhere. Like you drive by, you can find three of them real fast, right?
Yeah.
It's not that hard to get into a Walmart.
Well, the
And
problem there is it's too cost prohibitive.
can you explain that? Like what cost prohibitive like means and like
The vast
describe it.
majority of the cost in the supply chain, at least for Amazon, is in that last mile.
Mm-hmm.
The most amount of difficulties in that last mile. Walmart just sidesteps the entire issue completely by having their big distribution centers or their big stores where they could just warehouse everything, all the big they're usually like right off a highway or close to some sort of main roadway. So it's quite simple for a large truck to just move in and drop down a ton of goods. You can't do the same thing with uh, houses because if you want to deliver a lot of things, you can't just pull up a semi, on site apartment all the way in the suburbs everywhere. It's just impractical.
It's
So for
true.
Walmart to make that step, it would take way too much money to do it. And as you know, they focus more on they focus on good quality at the lowest price.
At the lowest price, yes. But here's the thing. People might be willing. Here's the thing. People are looking on their aspect. Okay, yes, I understand that Walmart's trying to provide the thing at the lowest price. But is it possible where if they try doing that, let's just say their price and they compare it to Amazon, and compared to Amazon, it's $1 cheaper. It's 50 cents cheaper. Okay. But it costs somebody $1 to fill up their tank or just to use a car or whatever, or take an Uber. It takes $12. You don't even have to put anything else with it. Just take an Uber because Uber encompasses all those costs of like insurance, the driver charge, all of those things put it together. It will cost you $12. And the difference that Walmart and Amazon are willing, like the marginal difference, maybe it's $3. Okay. That's just me. I'm just trying to be generous here. It's still going to cost them $9 extra if they bought from Walmart, went to the store, picked it up, and came and brought it back home, versus paying the $3 extra to get Amazon to bring it to their house.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree. I believe the fact that they have their stores is one of their best assets. It builds their supply chain and allows them more control, but more availability of their inventory. Now, this is not going to I don't believe we're ever going to get to a point of 100%. You're never going to get to 100%. I mean, I think every demand planner's got that goal, but that's never going to happen because markets change like this, social media changes like this instantaneously. Oh, this Instagram influencer reward this. Now I want to buy it, and now you have a couple hundred people trying to buy turtlenecks.
Yeah, something goes viral and the demand shoots through the roof.
And you couldn't have predicted that a month beforehand, which is a month is your lead time. And that's, I think that out of what I've heard, that sounds standard. But like
the month lead time or the
month lead time.
Okay.
Just like I've heard some places it's like they've got a year out lead time. But then other people it's like really short. So again, I just used a month as like a medium.
You should probably explain what lead time means just so everyone knows.
Yeah. So lead time is what demand planners. Okay, so demand planners are people who are planning for demand by definition. They are going for how much a warehouse needs to move of a certain product, how much an item needs to, like, whether if you're manufacturing it, how much do we need to manufacture it? And that's important because if you have an item that's like a car that's being manufactured, we're in Detroit, that takes a certain amount of time and you need a certain amount of workers to do that. And then so based off how many cars you need to manufacture of a certain model requires how many workers you need and how to best allocate them. Now, the thing is you're never going to always be meeting with fluctuating demand times, because the reason why that doesn't work is because you have things will change. If the market for cars goes down, what are you going to do? Just fire everybody immediately? But then in a week later, the market for cars just skyrockets. You can't just hire everybody right back up. You can't, that's not how, we know that's not how jobs works. To get a job, it takes weeks and sometimes even months where you're talking, you're networking, you get an interview, you get a second interview, maybe you have a third interview, especially for like engineer jobs like these, because you need to be highly specialized, right? So again, lead times are basically, we're currently in the month of January. For the month of February, how much do we need in our warehouses? How much will they need? And we're using past production models based off past sales and stuff to understand how much should we have. And then we will do a plus or minus, and that's where our inventory comes into play, which is items we have on hand. That's why when March came, supply chain was the number one thing. And demand planners, that was a big throw off because we were expecting demand to go up. But when the pandemic came and nobody was expecting a pandemic,
demand dropped.
Demand did drop. And when demand dropped, that means less people were buying, which means we were holding on to more inventory.
Which meant inventory carrying costs.
And that's a greater amount of costs and it's more, and it trickles down. So that's what we're talking about when we say demand planning and how much it's going to move forward. I was able to learn this more like when I was doing my internship with Abbott, and I was fortunate enough to do that with them. And I was understanding more of like what demand planners do and how we were trying to predict and understand where the market's at and how do we best fit what the market needs while also being cost efficient. And the longer the lead times, the riskier it is. But the thing when it comes to all demand, it's no demand planner is going to be 100% right. You're never going to get that. That's one thing I had to learn real fast. You're never going to get it. However, how it's the question isn't on whether you're right or you're not. It's how close are you? Yeah, you're gonna be up a little, you're gonna be down a little, but how close you can get to it, whether that margin, decreasing that margin is what's gonna make the big difference. Anyway, so on a supply chain aspect, back to Walmart, like we were talking, is it possible where if Walmart works on figuring out their last mile delivery, how to get a product from their stores to a person's home, whether it's small Walmart vans like what Amazon has right now, is that a game changer?
Obviously.
Or if they have like some sort of partnership with the UPS, a partnership with the UPS, a FedEx, having a partnership with them, whether it's hey, we need you to get this product to this house.
Well, essentially, if they get a partnership like that, it's always going to be good because no matter what, that means that they're taking away delivery capacity from Amazon.
True. But then don't you want to have more players in the field? That's the thing. Does this bring up the possibility for guys like me and you for a possible startup of just more logistic companies? Because you see FedEx and UPS that are large players right now, and delivery costs can be expensive. But if you have a lot of local players and when I say players, I mean business people, you have local businesses you are operating with. Does this allow for more entrepreneurship, more competition, leading to like lower prices? Because I've got a better idea, I can do this better, more efficiently. Or somebody comes up with a process. Okay, this is how we're going to do this.
Well, there's always an upside and a downside to that. Maybe they have maybe they have a better method, or they have a unique method, right?
So,
But the larger a company or a logistics company is, the more robust their supply chain is, the more, the more likely they'll be able to pivot and meet your demands.
well, here's my question.
Yes.
Okay, fine. I understand like where you mean like the larger they are. Sorry, excuse me. They have more availability to like move and shift and stuff. However, here's the question. Not all places are like the same. Michigan, we have all 4 seasons. We got the summers, and then we got boiling summers, and we got freezing winters. Okay, Alaska is always cold. Florida, it's always hot. California, it's different. They deal with wildfires.
Yes.
That's something that's one of their biggest concerns. We're not always dealing with that, right? So we have each one has different changes. When you operate, yes, I understand like more about a procurement aspect where we're giving you more deals, opportunities for you to make more money, we'll pay you less, but per unit it's going to come down a little, right? So however, if you operate with a small business type, like local trucking companies or just local delivery companies, okay, then when you do that, they're specialized into that area. They're specialized to the Midwest area. They're specialized to Chicago, to Detroit. While you have somebody else that's specialized to a city like New York. Somebody who can handle the city, but somebody who can also handle the suburbs.
Yeah.
You're specialized to a place like Miami. Like there's no reason to buy snow tires in Miami. There's no point for it. Same thing with California. They'll specialize, hey, go take this delivery route, things like that, so that we're making our people safer when they're delivering items. And obviously each state and local government will have their own rules and like laws that these businesses have to comply for. So I guess here's the question. when it comes to somebody like Walmart, what's more advantageous for them? Having a big contract with somebody like a UPS, a FedEx, who have been around for a while. They've walked around the block. They understand what is going on, and they have a wide experience. However, they are local. Sorry, they're not local. So they're not specialized to these specific areas, which opens up the possibility of where you have
A smaller one is
um,
more efficient.
you have less fulfillment. I'm not trying to like ding it. I'm not trying to like diminish the reputation. Please don't take it that way. This is just trying to think. But they might not be able to specialize as much as smaller companies might be able to. Because
Isn't
when
that
you
where segments come in though?
true, but then like that's where it's but again, who's better? Somebody who knows and is focused on the state of Michigan, UP, and the hand. Okay,
So
Upper
what's it?
Peninsula, Lower
Okay,
Peninsula.
let me ask you then. What is the difference between something like Michigan shipping or versus like, US shipping Michigan segment?
The amount of work and focus that goes into it. If your entire business is built around Michigan, you will do whatever it takes. You will, let's just say, here's the best way to describe it. Here's the best way I can describe it.
Okay, I think I get what you're getting at. Um, yeah, I
It's like
can't really
how
comment
deep
on
you're
that. I
willing to
don't
go.
I don't have a good enough knowledge of that to
I
make
mean,
it.
neither one, like, we're still supply chain students. We've just understood the basic theory, but I'm just asking, as if you are a business owner, we are aspiring entrepreneurs. If you are a business owner who owns, what would you want? Forget the revenue, forget, okay,
That
I'm going to
depends
make more
though.
money with a local. We're looking at just the process itself.
Okay, see, there's a million moving parts here. It really depends on your business and your future plans. If you're hoping to expand in the future, you're going to want to go with a bigger company because you might
Ex-
expand into them in the future. If you're literally your entire company, if you look at it and you're thinking, this will be in Michigan the entire time this business is running, then you might as well just go for the second one. It really depends.
well, but here's the thing. Okay, everybody starts small, then goes big. Nobody wakes up with $1 billion. Well,
Yeah,
okay,
but
let me
no
let
one, no
me.
one, no one starts small and then doesn't plan to go big.
Everybody plans to go big. Don't get me wrong. I do agree with that. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but my question is, as a Walmart, who do you want to play? Who do you want as your partner? Somebody who's already big, who could fulfill some, but not all? Or do you want to go with somebody who's smaller, who is more local, but they are specialized because they are local? If if
Okay,
you
see, like I said, there's always a billion moving parts. Maybe you prefer local because your Walmart only is in the local area, or maybe the company itself decides, no, we want the bigger one because that causes less moving parts. And as you know, the more moving parts there are in a supply chain, the more likely it is to get disrupted. Would it be better to have 15 local suppliers, all of them are specialized in their area, but some of them might fail at some time, and you have to use different costing and invoices for every single one of them? Or is it better to
well,
have one large company where you could have a standard structure for invoices, everything? They might just be slightly less efficient. Would you save more money by
I think
causing standardization, or would you lose more money with that standardization? You're losing efficiency, but does that standardization offset it? Like
I
I
think when
said, it's all dependent. I feel like we should probably just change the topic here. We're getting into
okay,
something where there's a million different right things.
okay. Well, I just want to say this one last thing, if that's okay. And it's this, and I think it's that if you have a small one, if you have, I think the downfall when you work with a local business, like when you're like work, let's just say you're working locally by state, they have a capacity. They're going to be limited. We can't handle more than the X amount. We can't handle more than Y amount because that's just the machines that they have at that moment of time. Like this is what is available to us. This is all we can handle. Okay, and a company as big as Walmart might not be able to handle something like that. But then a company such as UPS or FedEx, they might not be able to um, make it like as efficient, and that can be very costly itself. And I think like you nailed on that pretty good. And so I think like you need to find that balance between the two so that you're making the right choice on, again, at the end of the day, getting that product from the store to a person's house, which knowing how Walmart stores are, it can't be farther than 20 miles, I believe, in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah.
But that 20 miles makes a big difference. All right, let's go into another topic. Kevin, do you want to take us off to another
All
topic?
right, so we're kind of in a little bit of time left. So how about we just go over
I mean,
New
hey, we
Year's.
got time. How
It's New
long you?
Year's.
I'm sorry.
Uh, it's New Year's. Let's talk about goals.
Okay. All right. I like this.
Okay, so I actually found two articles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I told you a little about this earlier, but one of them is from Daily Brew. They're well, what do you call them?
Morning brew or
Company.
daily brew?
There's Morning Brew. Morning Brew.
Morning brew. Morning brew. Okay.
Okay.
Morning brew.
I don't know if you were you the one that recommended this? I don't know. Someone recommended this to me, but basically they just collect information on the day basically. And the other one is just another one that just saw around. It's by what is this? ABC News, I think. No, some sort of news network. I'm not 100% sure which one it is. But either way, they both touched on goal setting because of the New Year's, right? The Morning
Mm-hmm.
Brew one specifically said that goals are everywhere, but the best way to get performance from your goals is you want a specific and difficult challenge. For example, if you want to be more healthy, so it would be something like I want to run 2 miles a day every day, or like it has to be difficult, so maybe like 4 miles a day every day or something like that, right? Something that's specific and attainable and also
Apologies for that. We just had some
terrible
internet issues.
internet.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna happen. This is the new normal, everybody. That's okay. We're back at it. So, Kevin, you were saying about setting goals. You talked about the article from Morning Brew saying that you need something specific, and then that's when you get cut off. Can you keep on going ahead?
All right, so you need something specific and difficult so that you can clearly measure your progress, and once you complete your progress, you have a feeling of accomplishment, whether it's running a blank number of miles a day, so like running 4 miles a day or something like that, and instead of something that's more general, like I want to run more, right? However, the other article I found, based on a different news network, I'm not 100% which one this one is. The website says abc.net, but whatever. It doesn't look like the same thing. Either way, what they say is that normally we're advised to set SMART goals, basically what I just touched on: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. Uh, But this one actually said that open goals are better for you. They're non-specific and more aimed at seeing how well I can do. So like seeing how many push-ups I can do, things like that. Apparently they interviewed several athletes and found that this works very well in exercising and other goals, better than SMART goals actually. Um, and it says mainly the main reasoning behind this is that by seeing how many you can do and just having something where you're trying to do more, it takes away the trauma of failing, because if you don't hit your goals, it doesn't really matter because you still did it. If your goal was I want to run more and you ran 2 miles, you don't feel like you failed, you feel like you ran more. But if you said I want to run 4 miles a day, but you only did 3 miles, then that's failure. So 2 articles saying 2 completely different things. What's your opinion on this?
Well, I got something I want to bring up in the end and about this, but I first want to see where this goes. I think it's see, I was thinking smart goals, which you said like this goes contrary to smart goals, which is interesting that you say that because I think it's something where it's like I like to bring this back to the principle of accounting. Accounting, it's where it's set in stone. It's not you can't like fudge the numbers. It's what it is. It's if you you worked and you got $20, but then you spent $5, guess what? You only have $15 remaining. Excuse me. Anything other than that is not true, right? So it's like that's the true format of it. And I feel like at least the way I see it is more of you have the goal, so then you kind of need to like plan it backwards and go and say, hey, okay, let's just say it's running 4 miles a day. Did I run 4 miles today? And it's a simple yes or no. And I feel that like when you see so many of those no's, one of two things is going to happen. Depending on the kind of person you want to be, it's either no, 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 and then you're going to be like, you know what, this is not for me. I'm going to leave it, and for some people, that's fine. Depending on the person you want to be, that's totally fine, and you should do that. And I'm going to focus on things that help me be me and be more specialized in my skills. However, or you have option number two, which is where if you have those no, 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 you're going to come into where you're going to say, you know what? There's been so many no's. I want to just put one yes. And then one yes turns into two yeses, and then three yeses and four yeses. So I don't believe it's just like you write down a goal and you say, this is what I want to do. It's more about what are the habits that come with it. And what I said earlier, I'm going to wait off. I'm going to bring it back. I'm just going to bring it in right now because I think it's got a huge impact. There's a book that I've been reading. It's called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yeah.
And so he's talking about how, like, everybody's read Outliers. Everybody's heard of Malcolm Gladwell's book on it. And he says the whole 10,000 hour rule. Well, James Clear talks about how everything's built on habits, whether who you want to be and that goal, which is what we set off to do throughout the year. And then what are the habits we do each day by day? Taking those goals, taking those habits and implementing those habits day by day is important because us humans, we are marginal thinkers. We see that in economics all the time. We are what's marginal benefit and what's the marginal cost. And based off that is how we make those decisions. That's why you see the candy for 99 cents instead of $1 because just with that shift, it's like, okay, I'm spending less than $1. I can let it slide, right? And so it's that I personally believe that you need. I know this is not an answer you were expecting, but it's where it's you know where you want to be, but then it's day by day, and it needs to be held accounted. And it's did you achieve it today? Did you not achieve it today? And one of two things is going to happen because people write down goals. They might look at it for a week, but then after that, it's done. And then it's February, and it's like you're 1/6 of the way through. Okay, did you achieve your goals? Are you 1/6 of the way there? And most times it's not. And I think that's why resolutions don't work. But Kevin, your thoughts?
It works differently for different people. It's mainly dependent on who you are and how you respond to it. I agree
So
with
then, so then, how would you do it?
Honestly, I've done both. I've
Okay.
I've done goals such as blank amount of miles in blank amount of times a week, and I've also done just the general, uh, I want to do better at blank. I mean, they both work for me.
Okay.
It's I can't really tell. I can't really comment on which one's more effective. Um, I would say that if you are a active person who is has a lot of self-control, the open-ended one will probably be better for you because anytime you have time or you would make time for yourself just to go do it. You wouldn't specifically track how well you're doing, but you would spend that time and effort to go do it because you're a type of person who, whatever they do it well. Versus somebody who might not have as much self-control, maybe the more specific one will be better for them, just so they can, have a goal that they know they're achieving each time. If there's
Like a
someone who's
yes or
less,
no.
so if someone has less self-control, they wouldn't be like, oh, I ran for a couple minutes today, that means I ran more. They might be like, okay, I need to run for this amount of time, so I'm just going to keep running until I hit that, and then I'll stop.
So then here's my question. For the first person you mentioned, that is more disciplined, I guess, by nature, that can bet on themselves that things will happen more.
Yes.
Here's my question. There's something that said it's like your goal should be so high that it should be scary.
Yes.
You should wonder, can I even achieve it?
Yes.
Right? Is it possible where that person who is, they're betting on themselves that, okay, yeah, I can get this stuff. I don't need to do this X, Y, Z. Is it possible they're not setting their goals high enough? High enough to a point where they're like, oh, I might not be able to get to this month. Like, let me put it this way. If you have rent due at the end of the month or for the next month, okay? This is January, right? So let's just say February 1st, you need to pay rent.
Yes.
You don't have $500, but rent is $500.
Yes.
Your day-by-day pressure is going to go up and up. No matter how like short-term of a person you are, if you're like a really long-term thinker, then 3 weeks in, you're gonna be like, oh my goodness, I need to find rent money. Or 3 months out, you probably are like, oh, I need to find rent money for February. But if you're very marginal, you're then maybe a week in, you go, oh my gosh, I gotta find $500 for it, right?
Mhm.
Regardless of your time span, okay. Eventually, you're gonna get scared, and there's gonna be some sort of like you'll work. Maybe that week you destroy it. Maybe you do something, anything, but you do whatever it takes to make those $500 to pay for that next month of rent, right?
Mhm.
So again, there's that innate motivation / fear because guess what? If I don't pay rent, my landlord will evict me. Okay, I know it's more complicated than that, but I'm just making it simple right there. Is it possible that for the people who are so disciplined that they're like, I'll get it done? Is it possible that they're not pushing hard enough?
That really depends on the person. Maybe they
Okay.
do have a high enough goal and they're just comfortable knowing that they're in the pursuit of it, or they don't have a high enough goal and they're confident they can complete it. Goals are
Okay.
weird.
Goals are very weird. I think there's something that like so then here's my question. How do you make sure that they're long lasting? How do you make sure that past February you're looking back at your goals? You're looking at the habits you're looking at and you're how do you make sure that what you said would happen is happening?
Well, like you said, just habits. It's
Okay.
overquoted, but it takes 3 weeks to form a habit.
It's true.
Way,
21.
way too overquoted. So I kind of didn't want to say it, but it takes they say it takes 3 weeks to form a habit. So
Well, they say 3 weeks to form a habit, 3 months to form a lifestyle.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay.
All right.
I
Well,
I think we have come to an end for today's podcast. I thank you all so much for coming. Kevin, thank you so much. I know I rambled a lot. I apologize for that. Um, but hey, hope you guys had fun. We will put our Instagrams down below if you want. Connect with us. We'd love to talk more. And yeah, if you got anything that you guys wanted to share and you think is important, put it in the comments, and we'll try to like make sure next podcast we get it out there. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. You all have a nice night.